Hey everyone. It's One Tree Hill Tuesday, but on Monday because I like to keep you on your toes and because I'm too trusting in technology and sometimes it lets me down. So tomorrow we're going to be on YouTube doing Now and Then. You know what? I do this wonderful thing where I think that I'm singing the Now and Then song, but it's really me singing the One Fine Day song. We're gonna wait. What up, Ghost? What up, Mario? Alright. I should be getting a notification that Jules is gonna come on and talk to me. Any minute now. Any minute now. I miss you, Ghost. I saw you on the beach. I wanted to be on no AC. I keep pressing the button. I don't know.
Hi.
Hi.
I joined on the wrong account.
Yeah. I saw your Hughes by Jules account.
Yeah.
I
I
was
was
like,
like,
oops.
what the Why
I've
did
done
it
that.
do Yeah.
I've done that. Let me get back to my notes. All right, everybody.
Life is hard.
Today on Still Comfy, we are going to be talking about One Tree Hill, Season 1, Episodes 13 through 15. And boy, this week we found out that Lucas does have a little bit of Dan in him.
And also my worst nightmare happened in these episodes.
Oh, wait. I remember clocking your worst nightmare, and then it went away. Is it that Luke and Haley would no longer be friends anymore because of Nathan?
No, it's the car accident.
Oh, yeah. The car
That
accident.
is my actual fear of life.
I
And there's
literally...
a select few of people who I will murder if they get my child in a car accident.
Yeah. I forgot about the car accident and I remembered right before impact. And I was like, oh yeah.
I could not I don't know what else happened after the car accident happened. That's all I could that's
That
what
was
I hyper focused on.
that was in episode 13. You watched 2 more episodes.
I thought it was in 14.
Sure, it's in 14. Nope.
I don't know. It's in 13.
Episode 13. One of my last bullet points
Oh, because it's at the end of
yeah.
the episode. It's like the thing that ends. It's the cliffhanger.
It's the cliffhanger.
So I'm really glad we broke the episodes down in 3s because could you imagine if
well, number one, who has 42 weeks of time to do a season of millennial television? They let them have seasons of 33. So,
22. Well, 22 to 25 episodes, which, listen, I do miss that sometimes because there are some series where you're just like, okay, 8 episodes wasn't enough. You revealed shit that I didn't like, that the storytelling, blah, and then there's some shows where you're just like, why are you still here?
Yeah.
You deserve 5 episodes.
Virgin River, somehow you're both.
Yeah.
Somehow I want less of you, but I'm also dissatisfied when I get to the end of the season and I'm like, not even one episode to give me any context ever. That's fine.
Yeah, and not to be spoiler, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but the way they ended season 4 is you opened up all of these new stories, didn't even give us anything for them. It's like every episode was a season premiere.
Hey everyone.
And then, go ahead. Sorry.
Speaking of comfy, I'm in my bedroom. Because to my right, because I love to keep things just right off camera, but my messy nightstand made it, so that's great. I have an air conditioner in the window because my AC is still broken. We are officially 1 week in.
I'm so mad at these people.
No AC.
It makes me so upset. I just want to rage for you.
Yeah. So we're in my bedroom. And honestly, I kind of dig it. Should we just start doing this show from bed?
Hey, my bed is super comfy.
Yeah.
So
the show is called
Still Comfy.
Still Comfy.
It's just really hot in my bedroom right now.
Yeah.
I should buy a thing like you, but I can't do I can't do a window unit. I should buy one of the. You know what, everyone? hit me up on Venmo so I can buy one of those tower Dysons that's hella cold, but it's like the fan that's hella cold.
Very expensive. I look
$500. I look at it every year. Every year I'm like, this is the year I'm going to buy a Dyson. This is the year.
It's literally something your unrealistic friends would put on their wedding registry.
Oh, and is that a reason why I should get married? So I can
hope that 10 people like cobble together $50 to get you that one fan.
Yes, Mario, they are super cool.
They are. Pun intended.
Pun intended indeed.
So your worst nightmare happened. My greatest dream happened, and Deb actually said the words, "I want a divorce."
Oh yeah, I do. Okay, listen, I do remember that because when she had the locks changed, I was like, "Get it, girl!" Like, yes, ma'am.
I want a divorce, and of course, Dan was like, I'm not giving you a divorce just because you want one." Cool. I love when that is the way that they deal with their sadness over the fact that I want to leave them. What up, hey strangeness? So Deb said,
if he had just cooperated in therapy, maybe she wouldn't have said, "I want a divorce."
If he stopped being mean to the marriage therapist,
right,
who tried to save their marriage, and then so go Deb, because I didn't think that they got divorced in season 1, but maybe he literally just refuses to sign. And that's why I didn't think it happened in season 1.
Like that's their whole story for season 1 is like he refuses to sign. And then they
I don't remember.
Well, I don't know. I'm new.
I know you don't know. Oh, good. The delay finally stopped. So I got an inconvenient phone call because I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
D&D.
And then your audio was a little bit either ahead or... Yeah. And I was like, God damn it. This is going to be my entire evening. God damn it. Because, like...
Listen.
People won't stop calling me to tell me that they're not going to be helpful about my air conditioning.
Yeah.
All right.
So back to my hyper focus of my worst nightmare.
Okay.
How about how Keith was like, here's all this money. Like, you had enough in your savings to pay Lucas's medical bills? Like, how?
It's because, like...
Because it's 2003.
It's 2003, and their generation was literally told that savings was the only thing that you should be doing.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that Keith didn't live a fun life, and he just funneled money into an account.
Yeah. Yeah. I still, like, I had a senior year is expensive, people.
Yeah.
And it's going to probably take me 6 months to get caught back up.
Yeah.
From doing all the things for senior year. So if you have children who are little and you're watching this or you're watching this in a replay, pro tip, start a senior fund, $5 a week, whatever, $5 a paycheck, just enough that you don't see it. So that way in 10 years when your children are seniors and they say, Mom or Dad or parent, I get to go to Disneyland as a senior trip and I really want to go because every one of my friends is going. You'll be able to say, okay, honey, here's the money to go.
Right.
Unless you're me. Anyway, go ahead. Back to the.
So Keith took care of it.
Why we're gathered here today.
And I'm sorry. That's the point where I would have been like, and forgiven, because you took that big bill off my plate, Keith.
100%. And she's like, I'm going to pay you back every penny. This is a loan. Girl, I don't... Listen.
Is she still mad?
How is Karen still in the mindset of, I'm going to pay my own way? I've been doing this shit by myself for 17 years. I'm like, yes, I will take your money to pay my bills. Thank you. I will not offer to pay you back. You're offering me money. I will take it. Thank you.
At all. You know what I forgot to do? A filter.
Oh, you just looked so lovely. I didn't notice.
Oh, well, here, now I look like a cartoon character. And I'm keeping it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
You know what I just noticed? I got paint on my lampshade when I was painting last night.
Listen, this wall behind me looks really cool, right? It looks like I did a really great job when I manically painted it during the pandemic. But if you were to only look at the seams of my ceiling,
I just don't know how that happened. It's watercolor. It probably will be able to come out. It'll come out. It's watercolor. It follows. Ooh. Oh, I want a fun filter. Listen. I want a fun filter.
Oh, get a fun filter.
That's not a fun filter. What is happening? Oh my God.
Oh, it made a mosaic of you out of you.
It sure did.
Oh.
Okay, well, I'm having flashbacks to the 80s.
Ooh, that's like Gem and the Holograms.
Here we go.
Maybe we should start a segment where we let the audience pick our filter.
Yeah.
We're just like, what filter do you want to see today?
I love that.
I'll be a horse for the entire episode. I don't give a fuck. I was going to start with the very beginning where Lucas was like, I don't think we have to tell Brooke. I don't think it's a big deal. I'm like, why is this always a vehicle? Why are men always convinced that, like, you can just keep secrets and it's never going to come out and it's fine?
I guess I didn't understand that because I was like, so are you going to date in secret then? Is that the plan? Because I feel like that's a bad plan because you're going to want to, like, hang out at school. You're going to want to make out. Like, I remember being... well, I'm still hormonal, so that's not a good example. But I remember being like girl in relationship who was just like, you want to go so we can just leave and make out? Like, why are we here? We should just be making out.
I was doing that at like 29. So I was like, just texting. It became way easier when you could text.
Yeah. Oh, no, I didn't date in high school, Natalie. Yeah. I feel like that needs to be. Yeah. This was like post high school.
I was just like, you just like kind of look at them and then you text, I'm ready to go. And then you give them a wink and a fire. A wink and a fire. I just don't understand like how they thought that they were going to pull that off because they literally made out every time they saw one another.
Yeah. And then like, so Peyton has the camera. Yeah. Right? So part of me is like, how did you guys not get caught sooner?
Right, the webcam. Because she's calling like, for help webcam.
Yeah, like she's, you know, early days of OnlyFans type of situation, but clean, but like not dirty yet.
Does she call herself like dangerously punk?
Yeah, which is so weird. And why, like, okay, so we're clear, like, is the basketball season over?
No.
I'm trying to remember, because again, I was hyper-focused on Karen surviving, her son being in a coma.
Because Whitey tries to quit again at his 499th game.
That's
because if he won one more...
it'd be 500.
It would be 500, and then that somehow made him feel even more distant from his dead wife. Because I guess 500 was always the goal, and then he would retire and spend time with her, but she died. So maybe you should spend time with her anyways, Whitey.
How many games are in a basketball season for high school?
Too many.
Because here's where I'm going. How many years have you been a coach for how many seasons that you can get to 500, and why would any woman agree to that?
Listen, Whitey is an ancestor. He is old as fuck.
According to that post I reshared the other day, I'm also an ancestor.
Well, then Whitey's like a high being. He's one of the old gods. He's the one that like stepped and the Great Lakes were created. Like, do you see that man? He's ancient.
Is that actor still alive, I wonder?
I don't know. I do know that actor tried to throw it at Deb's actor, like maybe he could start a little something. The boldness of old men.
The boldness of white men.
Of old white men, yes.
Yeah. Lord knows. Anyway.
Do you know what broke my heart this episode is that now they've made that poncho of Haley's a running joke because Joy hated it, and I love that poncho. I think it's adorable. That quilted poncho.
Oh, right, because Nathan makes a comment, right?
He makes fun of it. And then she has Peyton take her to shopping. But that's not what really breaks my heart. What breaks my heart is this is the set of episodes where they literally kicked it up a notch in like Brooke just having an open heart of gold.
Yeah, she was like, it was really refreshing to see her as someone so devoted in a relationship because she was so everywhere with everyone. I'll make out with whoever. I'm party girl, party girl, party girl. And then to see her so quickly fall for Lucas, you're just kind of like, oh, you're cute. Right. This isn't going to end well for you.
No. But then, like, also, she is a supportive person.
Yeah.
Like, she waited it out when Peyton's dad was maybe dead in a hurricane. She tried to learn how to read for Lucas.
Oh my God. Whitey was born in 1940. So he was in his 60s when he did this show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead.
And is he still alive?
According to IMDb, yes.
All right. If anyone would like to phone in Whitey, we have questions. And the questions are mainly, how do we get out of working like you do? How do we just shut the gym down and say, I'm done?
Until you guys can get your shit together.
Until you guys can get your shit together, the gym is locked.
Closed.
I also wrote that Peyton and Lucas suck this block. Yeah. Oh, is he still working?
Yeah, he's still working. Sorry, I got I got focused. I had to find out. Yeah, Peyton sucked this block.
Peyton and Lucas sucked. Lucas was basically the most Dan he's ever been. Like when Haley catches them in the library and like a good goddamn friend goes right to his house and goes, what the fuck do you think you're doing? She doesn't even like Brooke at this point.
Yeah.
Like she's still tutor girl. Yeah. So she doesn't even like Brooke at this point. And she's like, what the fuck? You have a girlfriend. You're just sneaking around with me. And he's like, and he just like projects that. Who does he project it on? He projects it onto Haley. He's like, you're going to judge me? You're dating Nathan. And Nathan just is dating you for a bit to torture me. And I was like, ooh, that was a lot of Dan in this room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I father, say, like though, son.
Right? I will say, though, I was surprised that they let Dan redeem himself just a smidge by basically saving Lucas's life. Though I do think they took some creative license in how they, like, him care. Like, if he's that damaged from a car accident,
you can't carry him. I was like, Dan, you cannot carry him.
His arm is so messed up that he's flailing like this. And you're like, how did you not think like
2003?
Yeah.
I
shouldn't think about it too hard. But but again, mom mode, right? So like, you know, and then it's like, oh, if it weren't for Dan saved Lucas's life. And then I'm like, in 2003, the response time for ambulance and emergency services was literally 3 minutes.
Really? It's like 22 years now.
Yeah. So I'm like, I feel like they would have, whatever. They needed to let Dan have a redemption moment.
And they did. I'm convinced that he only did it because Keith was in the car, and how would it look to everyone if he saved Keith but not Luke?
Yeah. Yeah, because he is all about appearances and what that looks like and what the name represents and
you can't
all
trust
that
him.
Patriarchal bullshit.
You can't trust him. He's a bad man who does bad things. And then he got to play victim too. And I was like, see, this is why boyfriends are always yelling at me that the patriarchy isn't such a fucking big deal. Because like Karen walks into the car dealership and he immediately starts like defending himself. He needed a guardian and papers needed signed. Like he's been a good dad all along and she's going to yell at him for no reason.
Right.
Like Karen's the monster here.
Right. Ugh. How much did Keith actually drink in that episode? Because it's like
that's what I said. It was a beer.
I was like, I watched you drink a beer on an empty stomach. A beer, sure.
Yeah, sure, but not to the point where you're a tenth away from the legal limit.
Yeah, and what is
Keith is a big guy.
Yeah. Like, and so then I'm like, what is the legal limit in North Carolina? Is it universal?
0.8 everywhere?
Yeah, I thought it was 0.08 everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, but that was my question too. I was like, how drunk could Keith have been? Like,
well, Lucas said he wasn't drunk, but he still had done drinking.
He had done drinking. He was not drunk.
And why did you feel like you needed to do drinking to take the edge off to see Karen? Like, that's a coping mechanism we should be worried about, right?
Well, and like the Keith drinking, like a storyline, it's so out of nowhere and it's just like so poorly done.
Me? I'm frozen. I'm always frozen. My internet sucks.
I don't want to
I'm back.
Anything. Okay.
My internet's
just like right here.
I know, because I'm adjusting my light because I was like, this feels like it's very low. Or very high, rather. I'm listening. I'm listening to you, friend.
Well, now I've lost my train of thought. Oh,
Keith drinking.
Yeah, it's a badly written storyline because it happens like twice. Like Keith gets drunk twice, and then everyone's like, "Should we be concerned?" And I'm like, "Should I be concerned about myself?" Like,
right. Because I don't know about you, but I grew up getting told that if you have to drink by yourself, you're an alcoholic. Yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute. I live alone, and if I want a glass of wine after work, does that mean I'm an alcoholic?
There was one whole summer that I would come home from work and I would make myself a creamsicle vodka milkshake because I don't like wine.
Like actual, like an actual ice cream?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. My Aunt Joni taught me how to make them when I visited her. And basically it's Fanta orange soda or any orange soda that is your preference. Fanta. And then it's vanilla ice cream and vanilla vodka.
Oh.
So it's more like a float than a milkshake.
Yeah. Does it bring all the boys to the yard?
You know it.
I struggle with flavored vodkas. I used to work at a distillery, and so like the more like when things are flavored, there's more like just trash in it that's gonna fuck you up. And I'm a purist, I guess.
I'm a little baby bitch, and it has to taste like juice for me to drink it.
There's ways to do that without like buying flavored vodka.
It has to taste like candy.
Okay, well, when you finally come out here to visit me and then maybe stay forever. I will make you my delicious pink drink that you will never know had vodka in it. A lot of vodka in it. Because it tastes just like, do you like pink lemonade? Do you like strawberry lemonade?
Yeah.
It tastes just like strawberry lemonade.
Hell yeah.
Actually, I was at the store the other day and I was like, oh, I've been out of Tito's for a while. Maybe I should buy more Tito's. I did not. But now that we're talking about it, I think I want to stop at the store on the way home from getting the child from the gym so I can buy like Tito's and make my strawberry drink.
Number one, good on you, the CW, for thinking that we would be fooled and that you were going to kill off the main character.
Oh, yeah. That cliffhanger, man. I'm
13 episodes in and they're like, Lucas is dead. Now what? Yeah, I was like, did you get canceled? And that's the end?
I mean... Maybe they didn't know. Maybe they didn't know.
But I feel like poorly written shows have a tendency to leave you on like a death cliffhanger or some other stupid one-liner. Virgin River, I'm still looking at you. Because you're the only content that I could handle during the heat wave before I got my window air. Yeah. And therefore, I watched you, all of season 4 of you, because I could think through your
Very, very easy plot points that were not complicated whatsoever, but left you going, the fuck?
The fuck? Did you catch the red light? So Keith turns on a red arrow. Because he turns on a red,
he turns on a red arrow. I bet he did what I usually do, which is I'm looking ahead and I see the light turn green.
No, he saw Dan, and he's like, I don't want to be looking at Dan. And so he turned on the red, which is what Peyton's mom did. Or no, someone ran a red light, and that's what killed Peyton's mom. I was like, this showing damn red lights. People always leave. Full circle.
because when Peyton was running all those red lights in the, what was that, episode 3 or something, or 4, I was just like, this is stressful. I don't like it. She needs to stop. So I don't do that. I should clarify. But I have witnessed people who, like, when the cars next to them start moving because they're turning right, they'll go because they're not paying. They don't look up. They use social signals rather than like actual signals.
Driving is stressful. You have to pay attention to so many things. Which is why it's why I've stopped feeling bad about myself anytime I do something wrong and I don't die. And I'm like, could have died, didn't. But I'm releasing myself of that responsibility because I have unregulated ADHD and driving is so hard.
Yeah, so like, and there's a lot of optical illusions that happen. Like the road that I take to get to the gym it's very windy. And then when you get to the light, there's actually 5 lanes. 2 of them are turning lanes, but it doesn't, like, it's still 2 lanes. It curves, it snakes, and then it turns again, and then it opens up to like 5 lanes. So a lot of people don't, if they want to turn left, like they get, it's very easy to get confused. And I actually really hate taking that road a lot.
Yeah. Why did you thought that was a good idea?
This just in, Natalie and Julia will be starting a new segment. We decided today earlier.
What white man thought that was a good idea?
Yep. Ooh, I can't wait to design art for that.
I feel like it should be like a play off of the Monopoly Man.
I was gonna say, do you think we could if we'd be in the clear for like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out. Also, can we talk about Haley's dumb gym class requirement? Like, she has to make a basket to pass gym class.
I didn't understand that.
Gym class should be based on effort, not on skill. None of us want to be there.
Like, mine was. It was like, so, like, we had to run...
Right, you had
a mile.
That was my thing. You had to run a mile, and you had to do it, like, they graded you on your time.
Yeah, like, if you were, like, a 20-minute mile, then you probably weren't going to pass gym. But it was, like, a really easy, like, number. It was probably, like, 15 minutes.
Which is sometimes what I take, because I'm like, I could walk now. I don't like running. I like walking.
When I did a 5K a couple years ago when I was training for my half marathon.
Yeah.
And this guy's time came back as like 15. And so like a 5K is 3 miles, right? So his time came back as 15 minutes. And I was like, fuck that guy. Who runs a 5-minute mile? Like, no. Spoiler, I did the 5K in 45 minutes. Because I walked a lot of it.
I think that 45 minutes is, I can do 3 miles on the elliptical in about an hour.
Yeah, like that's 45-ish.
Yeah. All right. Look at me go.
Look at you go. And I will say it was in the early days of my training for the marathon. So it wasn't like I ran the marathon 2 weeks later. It was like 4 months before I ran the half marathon.
I was confused.
I sound so sporty in this episode that we're doing. I half marathons, the gym. Okay, you were confused? Tell me.
Back to Haley and Nate. I was confused that Haley was mad and in the dark that her relationship with Nathan did in fact start out with Nathan wanting to fuck with Lucas. I go, were we not all on the same page about that? Did someone forget to tell Haley?
Well, I feel like Haley is more innocent than the other girls. So I bought it.
Sorry. I was confused. I was like, Haley. No, I got why she was like upset. Like, idiots should never tell you something stupid and hurtful while they're literally laying next to you while your other friend is in a coma.
Right?
It's not the
Yeah,
time.
that was actually really bad time. You know, and again, now that you pointed out that Nathan is like the youngest one out of all of them in terms of the
Yeah.
actors, it really shows.
Yeah, because he's emotionally stunted. He is emotionally stunted.
Sorry, sir.
Like, he is. And like, and I think that's why he said it, right? Because he doesn't know that that's going to hurt anyone's
Yeah.
feelings. And then he's confused about why her feelings were hurt. And I was like, Nate, I think we left her out of that discussion. I think no one told her.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Well,
left her out.
and think about who his role models were too in terms of like,
Right.
you know, emotional
Dan and
development. Yeah. Mm. I love the part
then,
though when he's like, "Isn't it great now that Dad has an off button?"
oh, I love that. I was like, everyone needs an off button, like
Myself included. Yeah.
I want to go back to Brooke.
Okay.
Brooke is so honest and true about who she is and the hot mess express that she'll jump onto. And she just like comes out and tells Karen, I was just really stressed and I wanted you to like me. And now we're in the hospital. And Karen is so good with those kids.
Yeah,
like,
she really is.
Even when Brooke makes that like faux pas where she says, you know, it's a great place to be in a sugar coma. And like Luke's laying there in an actual coma.
Coma.
And Peyton just like looks at her and she goes, I'm an idiot. And Karen's like, no, it's okay. Like Karen is so good with those kids.
Yeah. Yeah, she really is.
But Brooke is so honest and like open about herself, and she just loves with her whole self that it was really hard to watch her get fucked over.
Yeah. Especially because Lucas is a dumbass who should have just been like,
yeah,
up front from the beginning. And I hate the guise of like, well, we were gonna tell her tonight, right? Yeah. The night that I almost died in a car accident.
Well, and I hate that after it happens, Luke just thinks that Peyton's gonna hop onto his dick, and he doesn't understand why Peyton feels bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you emotionally stunted? You're the one who reads and is good to your mom. Why don't you understand?
Yeah.
That, like, Peyton also has, you should be grappling with this too. Brooke loved you with her whole heart and body, and you just dumped her because Peyton draws and she's moody. And
that line, he's like, I love watching you draw.
I love watching you draw.
Oh my God.
That's when I got irritated with him. I was like, you're a douchebag. I don't understand why you don't understand why Peyton and Brooke are literally the two people who love the other one the best.
Yeah.
The best.
Yeah.
And then you fuck with that, and then you just expect Peyton to be okay with it.
Yeah.
Because she won you the broody prize with the bad tattoo. Like,
so bad.
So bad.
So bad. Oh my God.
I just bad. I got so mad because I was like, oh my God, because you're supposed to like pine for Lucas so hard and be so invested in who he'll choose. I never thought of him very critically watching the show where I'm like, you're actually the asshole. You are Dan.
Yeah, you know, I'm not that invested on who he'll choose. Is that because I'm older watching it?
Maybe it's because we know the younger relationships are very fluid and none of it matters.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's hard for me sometimes now watching like stuff nowadays that comes out where these kids are like, and then the way the adults handle it, I'm just like, just fucking tell them the truth.
Just fucking tell them that this doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just like, have fun. It's going to be fine. You're going to grow, and you're either going to grow apart or grow together. It's whatever.
But we're in the age of television where your 17-year-old kids just come home married because they thought that was the next thing to do.
Here's our next step.
Get
married. That's such a huge commitment that I just... Like, there's, like, a document. You're legally bound. Like, that's terrifying.
I was mad at Karen for continuing to be mad to Keith this entire block of episodes because I was like, he didn't mean it.
Yeah,
car accidents happen. Number one, left turns are tricky.
Yeah.
Left turns are tricky. So he could have clocked in, clocked it, turned, and someone was going too fast. How many times have you had that moment where you're like, oh my God, I thought it was okay, and someone went too fast?
I actually get honked at sometimes because I'll wait like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go at certain, not every intersection I hit, but there's certain intersections in my town. Like we got taken out in an intersection, driving through an intersection once. I've seen cars getting taken out. So like there are some intersections where I'm like, this is the deadliest catch. So we're going to wait.
Yeah. And so I get it. He had drank a couple of beers with Deb. But Deb
I thought it was one.
Yeah. But Deb also sent him in a car, and we trust Deb.
Yes, we do trust Deb.
But beer is also one of those really tricky situations where people drink it like soda pop, and then everyone thinks it's fine to drive because you just had beer.
Yeah, well, not all beers are created equal, right? Like Coors Light, you could drink Coors Light all day and not get drunk, but you fucking drop an IPA in there and drink IPA all day, you're drunk.
You're drunk. You're going into like some sort of failure in your body.
Yeah.
But when she hugged Dan to show her gratitude,
Karen.
I was like, Karen's better than us all. Like she's just
She's and then when what's his face was like, Karen, I can't work here because my baby and all this stuff.
And she got out the crib.
I was like, Karen, because she gets it. And I'm going to tell you what, I think that is such a strong trait of some single moms. Some single moms don't get it because Jack's, there have been some friends in our situation where the single parents just are just as awful as having old parents. But I will say, like, when you are left treated like garbage and nobody gives a shit on whether or not you survive, there is a point where you do sort of turn around and be like, I'm not doing that to everybody else
at all.
Like, that's not okay.
Well, and like at that moment, I think I wrote something about capitalism, where it's like we all need to be Karen.
Yeah.
Because Karen saw a situation and she's like, I have an easy fix for that situation. Right. Every time I've had a situation at work, my direct supervisor looks at me and goes like, and why is that my issue? Well, because I'm your employee. So therefore, I won't work as hard as you would like me to if I'm never here because I'm taking care of my infant.
Yeah, if you would like to, yeah, exactly. And so offering the crib and having the baby there, I think that's huge. And it shows that, like, she values the person over the profit, which will in turn increase her profits.
Right. No one's going to be mad that baby's in the lobby of the coffee station where everyone can look at her. People love a random baby.
Yeah, especially in a coffee place. In a movie theater,
but in a coffee place, people are going to love that baby.
Yeah, that's the whole point of a coffee shop is community.
Yeah. Karen is everything. And Karen and Deb, power duo. Deb came in and she's like, don't worry about anything with the cafe. I'll keep working it. We need to all focus on Lucas. And I was like, I want Karen and Deb to move in together.
Right? Like they're so... support, like I'm actually very nervous about that becoming like them not. I worry that they'll have a falling out because I love their dynamic, and I think we talked about this last week. I love their dynamic. I love how they are super supportive of each other. I love how Deb kind of is coming to the realization of how Dan was when it came to Karen and realizing like, oh, she deserves kindness.
Yeah.
And then also wants to give kindness, not just like giving it. Yeah. It's not fake. It's sincere.
It's not fake. It wasn't, well, you were out of town and now, take care of it all. It's literally just like, you're a mom. I'm a mom. Our kids happen to be brothers. Like, this doesn't have to be, like, the whole theme with Karen and Deb is this doesn't have to be hard. Like,
Right.
this doesn't have to be the hardest that it can be.
You know, and honestly, it's the first time I've seen in representation in pop culture where the two moms in this sort of scenario where you have a shared ex-partner, if you will, actually do get along and try to foster some sort of familial, because it's always pit against each other, right? Like that's always the storyline, is these two women aren't supposed to get along because they had this whatever.
It took Barbara Jean and Reba on the Reba show, I think, almost until the show was over.
Yeah. Because that's what we're told. We're told that we need to hate the new woman. Like, I was left, right? And that was the first thing people would say to me is like, oh, we hate her, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to, fine. I'm going to go over here and try and live my best life. Thanks.
Shout out to Stephanie. You'll remember her from our Elvis episode on YouTube as my friend who wanted to be Elvis for Halloween.
Yeah.
She said to me today, she was like, oh yeah, we're all feminists until a man's attention is on the line. Like, we're all sisters and we all want love and greatness for one another right up until there's attention on the line. And I was like, see?
Yeah.
That's why I've stopped giving a fuck about men.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to be Deb and Karen and just sit there and go, we can make this work because we're smart and we're empathetic.
And that's such a great way to slowly dismantle the patriarchy, because the patriarchy tells us that we should be in competition with each other, that we need to constantly be against each other. I'm not a girl's girl. I'm a guy girl. I don't have girlfriends. I only hang out with guys. Girls are stupid and that shit. But but when we really truly do come together and support each other, like, magical things happen.
Magical things happen. I do remember when I went off on capitalism. It's when that woman came in while Karen was sitting at her unconscious son's side, and the billing lady at the hospital was like, I'd like to talk to you about how you can't afford this. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
American healthcare system. And then they doubled down on that point because Keith took care of the bills by wiping out his savings, and then he had to take out another business loan on the garage or something, and they went, you just wiped out your savings, why would we give you more money? And he's like, my nephew was in a car accident, we had medical bills. And they're like, we don't really see how that's our problem, you're a liability now. And I was like, again, it doesn't have to be this hard. It is so hard to get yourself out of an emergency in this country. Like, it doesn't have to be this hard.
And the thing that, to your point on that, the thing that really was irritating to watch was he clearly had demonstrated for however long he was a customer that he wasn't a liability.
Right.
And then for that company, that agency, to now flip the script and be like, well, sorry. Like, that to me, like, that feels like, where's the loyalty to me? I've been a loyal customer to you for so long. And like, and with your point too about Karen, where she was like, I didn't realize that I needed more insurance. Because
like,
we're there's told varying degrees of insurance.
Oh yeah. And that's 2003. Think about insurance now. So in 2003, you had like little like co-payments instead of like high deductibles. So now, in order for me to even be covered by the insurance that I'm paying for, you have to get into such a big emergency. They're like, and now we'll help.
Yeah, it's like, it feels like a scam.
It's a scam. Hi, this is Uncovering Scams with Nat and Jules.
Because honestly, who has the money to cover their points of... This is why people want to work. This is why people want to work for the government, so they can have good health insurance. Actually, depending on which government you work for, it's not that great.
Of course. Yeah, high deductible insurance plans. What white man thought that was a good idea? I'd like to know.
Add that to the list.
I'd like to tag him to see if he'll show up.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And then, like, I was like, man, it's 2003 and they all have shitty insurance or no insurance. Or you have, like, so they tell us that our savings is our safety net for an emergency. Like your nephew was in a car crash.
Yeah.
But then you use it. So, like, you put your money into a bank and you're like, that's my money. And then you use that money and the bank's like, you're a bad person. It's like, I thought it was mine.
Yeah. Again, where's the loyalty to me as a customer? Because you told me that I should save this money and put it here and keep it safe with you. And it's, you know, I didn't get the sense that he was the type of guy who drained his account all the time. So, like, you drain your account one time.
One time.
It's almost like you're not allowed to make mistakes. You're not allowed to have any errors. You're not allowed to basically exist because that is a ding against you.
Which is truly why we've stopped progressing.
And I feel for Keith because he's clearly working hard and he's clearly trying and he's clearly doing all the things boomers were told. Because we can assume that these parents are boomers based on their age.
I've had that meltdown over this block of episodes where it's like, I'm sorry, I thought we were doing everything right. Keith goes to work every day. He owns his own business. That's supposed to be the American dream. People can't have broken cars every day. Sometimes everyone's car is running, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It just infuriated me. But you're right. Like, weren't we doing everything right? Isn't this what you told us was the thing that we were supposed to be doing?
Mm-hmm. It's the same with Karen, too, with her cafe. And just like, wait a minute, I have insurance. Like, what do you mean there's supposed to be more insurance? Like, and I feel like that's very common for a lot of people because it's intentional. If you can't find information or the information is hard to get, I feel like that's intentional. I'm not usually a conspiracy theorist person, but having worked for the government for as many times and for how many years I did, there are things where it's just like, well, you could make it easy for people to find that information, but yet you're choosing not to.
Right. Because, like, they give you a pamphlet or a booklet with your insurance, and yet it says nothing. Mm-hmm. Like, it's all just, like, percentages and, like, what ifs. And I was like, I need to know. If I have a heart attack, that will cost this. Like, you're either covering it or you're not.
Right. When I was buying vision insurance, my friend owns a company. So I was like, and they do employee insurance. I was like, help me. Yeah. I can't understand any of it. And I'm a reasonably intelligent person, I thought. And she was like, boom, 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 boom. Here you go. This is the plan you want.
I always call my friend Stephanie because she's in HR. So she's constantly explaining their insurance to the people who work at the mill.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't understand my insurance. She goes, they make it so you don't understand your insurance. Yeah. Because they're hoping that no one will talk to you about it.
Right.
Because what am I paying for? Because I pay monthly and then I go to the doctor and they're like, $80 more, please. You haven't met that minimum.
Like $80. Who has $80? Am I in the wrong field that I don't just have easy access to $80 whenever I need to?
Oh, that's why I got so irritated at the guy who didn't fix my air. Because his response to me almost bursting into tears was to go, yeah, I just buy a window unit for the weekend. And I wanted to be like, that's a $200 commitment.
Yeah.
Like, they're not cheap. Nothing is cheap. Nothing is also easy to find. So for you to just say, yep, we didn't fix it and no one has a part, but if you would like to survive the heat wave, go get a window unit. That's why I scream cried in my ice shower. Because, again, it doesn't have to be this hard.
Right. Right. It's not almost intentional. It is intentional because we're constantly being told, well, this is hard and these are all the things. Mm-hmm. But then when you and I or other women that we know, or women, Black women like me, when we get into situations and scenarios and we question, why are you doing it this way? It makes no sense. It's hard. Oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about.
It's supposed to be hard. How many times have we been told it's supposed to be hard?
Yeah.
Work is supposed to be hard. It's work. This is supposed to be hard. Like, but does it have to be?
But like hard to the point where I might die early because I've just shaved 5 years off my life responding to your emergency requests that mean absolutely nothing at the end of the day. Or like hard work in the sense of like, I feel like I've accomplished something and I feel successful today. Because those are two different things.
Right. Hard enough to where I was worried that while I was actively dehydrating, I was too busy following the cat around to see if she was dehydrating.
Right.
I drank water all day long and still went to bed every night with a dehydration headache.
Yeah, because I strongly disagree with the work is supposed to be hard. There's challenging work.
Yeah.
There's things that are challenging, and then there's unnecessary hurdles that make things super complicated.
Super complicated.
And that's the thing that frustrates both of us. We've had this conversation multiple times. And you're right, 2003, the world wasn't as fucked up, or at least we didn't know it. We weren't aware of it.
But they were still having a hard time making their bills make sense.
Yeah.
Because there are always people in Karen's cafe, so why is she struggling so much?
Right.
It's because the bar always keeps moving.
Yeah. I hate that. You know, and you know that. We've had that conversation. I hate
and they
the
secretly
goalpost
move
moving.
it.
Yeah. Wait a minute. I just, like we said, I just did everything you said that I needed to do. Why did the goalpost move?
How did
that happen?
I don't understand.
When did that move? Oh, did it move when you saw that I was going to achieve everything that you told me to achieve? Oh, okay. Thanks.
Okay. The only time I felt for Lucas, even though he was in a coma for a good part of this chunk, was when he had to grapple with Dan being the person who pulled him out of the car, but also the devil.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sometimes the devil does a good thing, and then what the fuck do we do with that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love living
messy.
I love living in California because bodily autonomy, but also we have the most expensive gas prices in the country right now.
Yeah.
I can hate that, but still appreciate bodily autonomy.
Yeah. I keep being told that this is the greatest country to live in, and yet we don't offer water to our homeless people. In Europe, they just have fountains that are open to anyone.
Heaven forbid we actually care for our people. You know what's interesting too? I was thinking about it on my drive today. I thought, Natalie and I have this conversation about community all the time because we are two people who unfailingly love and support the people in our lives, but it's not always reciprocated. So where's the disconnect?
Debs and Karens.
And then I was thinking, we are. And then I was thinking about like, I think it's intentional. I think that over the last 20 years, there has been an intentional effort.
Breakdown in our communities.
An intentional effort to disconnect and break up that community because communities strengthen. Communities make things better. Yeah. Communities make you feel whole and supported. But if we are actively told, if we're working 18 hours a day, if we're commuting for, just doing things where we can't be in community, then things like, well, I'm going to run this red light because I'm in a hurry, or, there's no thought of how does this impact my community because we're no longer allowed to be in community because the opportunities have been removed for us.
I don't think the filter is going to let it show you, but I fucked up. Not my pointer finger. These 3 finger pads on my fingers, getting so stressed out over that heat wave and trying to be like, do I even want this window unit? Whatever. And I tried to put it back in the box, not knowing that the back of it is like a pure metal sheet of razors.
Yeah.
And so I literally cut up my whole hand. And my first thought was, I can't afford to go to urgent care right now. So I literally just panted around my room, like around my downstairs, like just trying to clutch them closed, like, please just stop. Please just stop. And going, and crying. And it doesn't have to be that hard.
Right.
We shouldn't always be in this situation where it's like, I'm running a red light. Who cares if I die? I'm wrestling with the air conditioner because who cares? Like, and when community is actually the solution.
And I hate the argument that the internet is and that social media is part of the problem. While yes, there is exactly. As I say, well, yes, there is a dark side to that. there's also a good side to that. And so our experiences online have not been negative, because we're actively seeking out people we connect with. And I think that's the other part of community, right? Like I've met people because of the internet. I was able to verbalize a lot of things that I couldn't verbalize about my racial identity, because I found other mixed people online. Yeah. Modesto doesn't have a ton of mixed people. I mean, if they do, it's a lot of times it's Mexican and white, right? Which is fine, but it's still different cultural experiences. And so I don't know, like, I don't know what the answer is right away, but I do know that by not actively trying to be a part of the community, and because we're in survival mode, is the problem.
Well, and I think part of the other problem is the propaganda that we're fed, because it's like, why don't we have empathy for the homeless? Because all we hear about them is that they're drugged and lazy.
Right. Instead of trying to figure out, why is Mary screaming, please don't touch me, please don't hurt me, please don't touch me. That to me sounds like she was abused, probably sexually, and I don't perceive her as a threat. She's unhoused, and she probably coped with drugs and alcohol because nobody believed her when she said, I was sexually assaulted.
Yeah. We don't have to
content warning on the caption here. Because of me.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, friend.
You know what?
Anyway,
we talked about Peyton's sexual assault, and we didn't put a warning.
That's true. That's true.
But it is. It's like, I don't know. I've been saying it since we were all like forced to go back to work after the quarantine. I've been saying it. I'm like, all I'm craving is a little bit of empathy from my community.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting it where I'm sitting every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
The end. Empathy is the answer, and I'm willing to move to find it.
Yeah. And I'm not saying you have to, like, and that's the other part too. I don't know if you have this, but I have a lot of friends who are like, okay, well, let's problem solve this. I didn't ask for that. No. I said, I need to say X, Y, and Z if you're not the person, and like, I'm not ready to solve that problem, or this problem can't be solved. Like, I just need comfort.
Right. No, so the friend whose husband installed my window unit, so I stopped cutting myself with it. He came right after work, and she came too. And I remember telling Stephanie, I go, I'm so glad it's going to be her, because I know that she'll hug me. And I opened the door, and she immediately mouthed. I was like, hey, Marvin. And she just mouthed, are you okay? I go, I've been crying a lot today. And she's like, okay. And she checked in, like, and again, watching someone struggle and knowing that you have the solution, amazing. As soon as Noelle saw my comment that said, no, I got one, I just have to figure out how to install it, she messaged me, and she's like, my husband will do that. He told me he would do that. Why do you need to be falling out the window while you're already in crisis? Like,
because you're increased chances of falling out the window because you're in crisis.
Because I had already cut up my whole hand. Because I don't think when I'm stressed, that, like, the reason why I left my last job and am now just figuring it out is because I kept hurting myself. Yeah. Like, I would walk away, not even like intentionally, but I would, like, this is a prime example. I walked away in my own home from some stupid Zoom meeting where nothing made sense and nothing was actually going to help. And I went, I'm going to change all of the light bulbs now. And I literally burnt my entire hand because the light bulb that went out had just gone out, and I was like, I'll grab it, because I'm frenzied and I'm just moving because I'm trying to get that adrenaline out of me.
Yeah.
So I kept hurting myself, and I was like, I can't do it. Like, I'm gonna crash my car. I'm going to do something stupid.
Yeah, I actually was really stressed out the last time we went to LA to visit, and I think I told you the story in voice memos. Like, the drive took longer than it was. Money was super tight because of the things that were happening. Yeah. And by the time we finally got into LA, a block from the hotel, I'm out. Like, I probably should have handed over the car to the kid to drive.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking ahead. I'm thinking, I'm tired. Like, I can't function anymore. The light turns green, not my light.
Yeah. Exactly.
And by the grace of Black Jesus, we did not get hit by that $160,000 car.
Right.
And the boys were like, you just ran a red. I was like, what? No, I didn't. The light was green. Like, it was a full-on dialogue. Yeah. Like, I was so exhausted and just, like, burnt from the day that it didn't register.
Hi, Christine. You haven't met Christine, Jules, but she's wonderful. She's one of my teaching friends. She's adorable. She had the unfortunate incident of staying in my home when I was going through a breakup, but we had one hell of a pity party.
Hey, like, sometimes the pity party is the best party.
Sometimes. But yeah, like, I got tired of she also worked with me at my most stressful teaching job. So, you know, the trauma bond.
Yeah.
So tight.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't have to be that hard. We're not given the grace. Like, I keep asking myself in my head what I did wrong to make the air go out. Like, I caused the heat. Right. Like, I caused the heat wave that's causing all of our air conditioners to kick in over time. They're swamped.
Yeah.
They're swamped.
Yeah.
And Noelle's like, this is what happens. It gets hot like this. It didn't used to get hot like this for weeks. We'd have one hot day. And she goes, and your motor just blows because it won't stop running.
Yeah. Because they're not designed to run 24/7, but people run them 24/7 anyway. I hate to be this person, but I remember I mentioned I have a heart out. So did we catch everything?
We caught everything. Lucas was gross. I hated his face while he was doing the aim thing.
I do like him better than that. I do like him better than him playing Tristan on Gilmore Girls.
Great. I hated that Peyton told him no, and she didn't want to deal with him. He's actively watching her not want to deal with him.
Yeah.
And he just, I love watching you drop. I really want you to come over. Where have you been? I'm like, stop being gross.
But do you think in his mind he thinks he's being romantic?
I'm sure. He's a moron.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, are you so comfy with the show, even though they brought to light your worst nightmare?
Yeah. Yes, I am. I am curious, though, like, when are we going to get some people of color?
Oh, yeah. If you notice, they've started listing Antoine Tanner because I clock it every time his name is in the, like, beginning credits. I'm like, okay, we got to start getting skills into it. He was just the guest on Drama Queens, and they asked him when he started feeling like North Carolina was home instead of a place he was flying in and out of to shoot his 1 or 2 scenes and then go home. And he said it was like season 4 or 5. But
Listen, y'all, I got Black people in North Carolina because that's one of the states my Black people live in. And I've never seen white people in North Carolina.
This show is...
Correction, my mother. White. She is the person I saw in North Carolina.
This show is so white.
Yeah.
So
I mean, other than that, you know, I'm still hanging in. I'm still here for the plot. I'm still here for Lucas when he's not being gross. I'm still team Karen Deb.
Yeah. I'm running through a list of WB shows, both current and from my childhood in my head, and the WB be so white.
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, that would be a great conversation for another day because I do know the history behind that. Because it didn't used to be. It used to be UPN. It was UPN, and then it became WB, and that whole thing. So, like, I actually tracked that transition. So, if you ever want to have a conversation, that might be a fun conversation to have. Because,
I am still comfy too, because One Tree Hill lets me know that I was technically living the end of the world in 2003 when no one could pay their medical bills. So, you know, that's comforting that I survived it this long.
They were predicting our future, and we didn't even know it.
Our future. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Jules, tell them where they can all find you.
Here on, I'm on here as Pop Culture Makes Me Jealous, or on here. on the Instagram, or the Julia Washington. Either you can follow me on the pop culture one, because we talk about all the things, television, movies, celebs.
Yeah.
I mean, I recently watched The Gray Man for the plot. Guess what the plot was? Chris Evans' ass. And then on mine, the Julia Washington, musings about being a solo parent, book reviews, pictures people randomly send to me, all the things. I do want to also acknowledge we just got merch. This shirt,
look how cute it
is the most basic of shirts. We have better merch in the store too, but there's mugs and all the things, and you can support the show by either listening, writing a review, following us on Instagram, joining our Patreon, buying merch. I literally don't give a shit how you support myself and Natalie. Just support us, because supporting us helps us dismantle the patriarchy and uplift other people trying to do the same thing.
Should we put that on a t-shirt? Like, it's just our faces, and it just says, supporting us is how you dismantled the patriarchy.
Yes.
Oh, like, should we make it like a checklist, like dismantling the patriarchy? Support Natalie and Jules.
Yes, I love that idea, actually. Oh my God, yes, we should totally do that for Still Comfy merch.
Yes, we should. And then we can list our other shows on the checklist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get on that. You're the one who knows how to do things.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll add that to my list.
Yeah, add it to the list. I'm your host of Two Element I've Tolerated Before, Natalie Katona. Good news, you found me. This is my Instagram. You can follow me at NatalieK124. I think this one is more fun. The show drops every Thursday. This week it is How the Hell Do I Date Now? Because if anyone has advice, I'd like to know. And last week was The Men That Wendy Cooper had tolerated in her very long career. And I'm designing merch.
You're doing a good job.
Thank you. Bitch, you doing a good job. Bitch, you doing a good job. I'm designing merch. We have a Patreon. If we get 25 Patreon members, maybe you get to be my pen pal. And because I'm so fucking extra, I bought blank cards to hand make cards. Because
I can't wait.
I have to self-soothe somehow. And I can't bring all of my fucking junk journal shit up here. It's still downstairs on the heat wave. So I guess my great aunt and my pen pal are getting like colored cards. I'm just going to draw them.
I support you.
Thank you. This has been another episode of Still Comfy. Next week, we will actually be on Tuesday for episodes 16 through 18. And tomorrow, we will be on the To All the Men I've Tolerated Before YouTube channel talking about one of my favorite movies, Now and Then. All right.
I love that.
Bye, Jules.
I wish we had an outgoing theme song to do.
I don't want to be anything other than what they try me like. All I do is I love that I just drop all of the consonants at some point.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.